disconnected from the previous life, so please let's continue from here. So we're in Genesis 27 verse 36, okay, where Isaac says, is he not rightly named Jacob? For he had supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath away my blessing. First of all, Jacob did not take away his birthright. He gave his birthright to Jacob. He sold it to Jacob for a plate of porridge, a miserable plate of porridge. He sold his birthright to Jacob. He willingly gave it to Jacob. He took an oath, okay, that he had given the birthright. So he was making it seem as though Jacob put a knife to his throat, which wasn't the case. Jacob did not take his birthright. He gave it casually, okay, to Jacob. And then he also forgot that the blessing was attached to the birthright. And so he told his father, said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? Didn't you keep anything for me? You know, the thing is that because the father loved him, the father just gave him everything, gave that blessing the father pronounced upon Jacob, thinking it was Esau, was he gave him everything. Okay? And so the father answered and said, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? Do you see? So you see the kind of blessings that Isaac pronounced on Jacob, whom he thought was Esau, because of the love he had for him. He said he gave him, he made him Lord over all his brethren. He made all his brethren to be his servants. He gave him corn and wine to sustain him. So what more? What else is there? Okay, so what else can I possibly, do to you now, my son? And Esau said, don't you have but one blessing? Just one, my father. Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau said, Esau lifted up his voice and wept. He wept. He came face to face with the consequences of his foolishness. Face to face with the consequences of his foolishness. He came to understand, to realize that that simple statement of what good is my birthright to me? Take it if you want it. That simple transaction cost him a blessing that should have been his. He was foolish. Okay? He was foolish. And then he cried. And I kind of feel sorry for him. It's quite sad. So sad. I can't even imagine a situation like this. So sad. And he wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Okay, so your dwelling will be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Okay, and you will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. Just imagine this. You will serve your brother. You who are the first son will be a servant to your younger brother. But he put a clause there. He said, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. There's a certain translation says, and when you become restless, you will break the yoke off your neck. So there is hope for, yes, you will be his servant, but there is hope for deliverance. Okay, if you become restless, if you get to a point where you get tired and you say, I will no longer be a slave. I refuse to be a slave anymore. I refuse to be a servant anymore. And you fight. If you fight hard enough, you break that yoke. That was the clause Isaac put. And we can learn something from this. Say, when you shall have the dominion, when you become restless, you will break the yoke off your neck. There are certain things that are still in our lives, certain negative situations that we still suffer from because we have not become restless. Because we still pamper those things, those situations. We still pamper them. We're still comfortable with them. Okay, we have not gotten to that point where we say, I will not take this anymore. I refuse to take this anymore. No more. And we are ready to fight to the death. We have not gotten to that point where you say, I'd rather die fighting than remain a slave. When you get to that point, you will break the yoke. Many people, everyone who has ever broken a yoke in their life or in the life of their family has gotten to that point of restlessness. Okay, everyone who has ever broken a yoke has gotten to that point where they say, I will not take this anymore. I refuse to take this anymore. I refuse to be a victim anymore. I come from a family. This is an example now. I'm not saying this is my family, but let's say I come from a family where everyone died. People keep dying. People keep dying. People keep dying. I refuse. This will no longer happen. And the people who are dying are people who are young. And you sit down, you fold your hands, you haven't gotten to that point of restlessness where you stamp your feet and say, no more death. No more death. This death must end. If it requires you going on a dry fast for as long as possible to ensure that that yoke is broken, you do it. We still face certain things. We still allow those things to oppress us because we have not gotten restless. We have not become restless. When you become restless, when you have the dominion, you will break his yoke off your neck. I pray that the Lord will help us to get to that point of restlessness, especially for those who come from a family where there are negative patterns, evil negative patterns, and patterns of the bloodline, curses that are affecting generations. May the Lord help us to get to that point of restlessness where we're tired, we're sick and tired of that nonsense, and we arise as saviors. Say, I die fighting, but this must come to an end. May the Lord help us. In Jesus Christ's name. So, say, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And in verse 41 we're told, said, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. 42. And these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now, something noteworthy happened here. We're told in verse 41 that Esau said in his heart that Esau hated Jacob. Why are you hating Jacob? Why should he hate Jacob? Jacob didn't force him at knife point to give him his birthright. He willingly, because because of how foolish he was, because he didn't understand the weight of spiritual things, he casually sold his birthright for a plate of porridge. If you're selling your birthright for gold, I mean, one will say, okay, well, gold is valuable. If you're selling your birthright for silver, for diamond, but come on, for a plate of porridge. We're told that Esau despised his birthright. That is how valueless it was to him. For a plate of porridge, a plate of food, not even gold. Not gold, a plate of food. Now, the Esau in question was not a beggar. He was not a poor man. He was the first son of a rich man. Isaac was very rich. Isaac had been blessed by God abundantly. There were servants in the house that could have prepared any meal he wanted. He was not a poor man. He was not a pauper. He was not a beggar. And then, why sell your birthright for a plate of food? A plate of food. One who hears that will think, okay, maybe he's a poor man. Maybe he's a beggar. Maybe he hasn't eaten for the past 3 days. But that was not the case. That is how valueless the birthright was to him. How little he thought of this birthright. He despised it. And now he's hating his brother. Why hate him? I mean, why hate the person who you didn't see the value of it? Someone else saw the value of it and took it. And you hate the person. Why? Why do you hate them? You didn't see the value of it. If you had known the value, you would not sell it so casually in exchange for food. So Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing that the father had blessed him. And he said in his heart, listen, take note of this. He said in his heart, my father will soon die. He's close to his grave. When he's dead, I will kill my brother Jacob. And in verse 42, we're told, say, and these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah. I love this woman, Rebekah. She was a highly spiritual woman, very spiritually sensitive. Esau didn't tell anybody this. We're told that he said it in his heart. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't go to someone and say, oh, my brother Jacob did this, so I'm waiting for my father to die and I'll kill him. He didn't tell anybody. He said it in his heart. But we're told that his words, those words he said in his heart, were told to his mother, Rebekah. Who told her? God. So we see that she was a highly spiritually sensitive woman. That even the words her son said in his heart, God revealed it to her. I love that woman so much. I love that woman. It is possible. It might seem like, don't think that it's just the Bible, it's just a story. No. Even presently, there are people who have that ability to know what is in your heart. They can stand before you, and as you're thinking, they're hearing your thoughts. Okay. The Lord can reveal to them in their houses what you're thinking in your heart, in your own house. You can be saying something in your house, and the Lord will reveal to them what you just said. There are people like that. Presently, I know at least one person like that. Okay, I know at least one person like that. So it is possible. Okay. It is possible. So we're told that the words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. God told her, see, this is what your son Esau is planning. This is what he has said in his heart. And Rebekah, immediately she called Jacob, her younger son. And then she told him, say, your brother Esau is planning to kill you. He's just waiting for your father to die so that he can kill you. So listen to what I want to say to you now and follow, obey. Say, arise, get up and go to my brother Laban. Go to Haran, to my brother Laban, and stay with him for a while until your brother's anger goes down. Okay? When your brother will turn away and he will forget what you've done to him. And then I will send for you, okay, from there. And she said, why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? Why should I be deprived of you both in one day? Because if, yes, Esau said he wants to kill Jacob. But you never know. He might try to kill Jacob. Jacob himself will want to fight back. And then they might fight and kill each other. Or one person might end up killing the other person. And no matter what, Rebekah still loved her son Esau. She may have loved Jacob more, but that doesn't mean she didn't love Esau. He was her son. She carried him for 9 months. She birthed him. So she loved him. And of course, she did not want to lose him. She didn't want to lose any of her sons. Okay. So what she did was what she needed to do. Okay. What she did was not out of hatred. It was out of duty. Okay. But that does not mean that she didn't love her son Esau. She said, why should I be deprived of both my sons in one day? So go to my brother Laban. Stay with him for a while. When Esau has forgotten what you did to him and is not angry at you anymore, I will send for you to come. Okay? And then Rebekah, now, being a wise woman, she didn't want a situation whereby Jacob would just get up and say, oh, I'm going to stay with Laban. I mean, that would have been, So what she did, she now went to her husband Isaac. She said, oh, my husband, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. I am so scared that our son Jacob is going to take a wife of one of the daughters of the Hittites. I don't want that at all. If that happens, what good shall my life do to me? Okay, so we see her. She was a wise woman. She was a smart woman. Okay, say, I don't want our son to take. Esau has taken wives of the Hittites, and we know how. I'm not happy about it. You're not happy about it either. If Jacob does the same, I don't know what I will do. What would be the point of me living? I'd rather die. It's just you know how women can be and all of that. And we'll see what came out of that by tomorrow. Okay? By tomorrow, we'll see what came out of that. It was a pleasure having you all here tonight for today's Bible study. I hope that we learned one or two things and we got the message the Lord had for us. I hope that the Lord spoke to us, okay, through His Word. I pray that He will give us the grace to avoid the mistakes that some of the characters in this book did. Okay, to learn from their mistakes and to emulate their righteousness, their good deeds. Okay, thank you all for participating. I see you all. I see your comments, your likes, your contributions, your participation, and thank you. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. But don't come alone. Come along with someone. And as you do so, the Lord will bless you abundantly. Have a lovely night's rest. Sleep tight, sweet dreams, and